Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I'm doing a Doctor Who action figure review of the 4th Doctor Regeneration figure, which basically means that the 3rd Doctor has just regenerated and is now the 4th Doctor. However, the 4th Doctor hasn't got his own attire and costume and that, so he's still in Jon Pertwee's costume and or clothing. So yeah, this used to be exclusive to the 4th Doctor Time Capsule box set quite some time ago, back when that released. I don't know what year it was when it released, but originally when it released, this figure was exclusive to that set. However, obviously it's not now. I purchased it off eBay. I was originally going to buy it off Amazon. However, when I clicked on it, the Amazon price for some weird reason went up from £20 to £30, so I ended up buying a unboxed figure of this from eBay. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but either way, it's really good. It's predominantly using the sort of what I presume it would be just a regular sort of Jon Pertwee action figure, but instead of obviously Jon Pertwee's head, they've swapped it out for Tom Baker's head, of course, and that. But also, what's more noticeable about the head sculpt of Tom Baker, almost said Jon Pertwee then, of Tom Baker here, is that it's for once the more sort of solemn sort of expression of his face, as often with the character options figures, such as the season 12 costume variant of Tom, as well as the sort of season 13 one, I think it is, the Pyramids of Mars one, and that, as well as maybe even the one that they did for the 11 Doctors set originally, the variant of him from Seeds of Doom. Those three figures, I think, are all have him with all three of those have him with the grin and that, which is kind of quite synonymous, or it's quite a synonymous sort of expression that he would pull and or have. So I guess that's kind of why a lot of the character options figures have that sort of expression, but he sometimes had a more sort of solemn, sort of moody sort of expression sometimes, for lack of a better term, and obviously it's best sort of displayed here, as well as this one is much alike the season 16 City of Death action figure that I also have, which is the only other action figure that, well, no, that's a lie actually, the Genesis of Daleks, Tom and the season 16 one have the solemn expression, which basically just means that instead of the grin, he's just sort of not grinning really. However, the hair is obviously more noticeable here, because unlike with those figures, those figures have the fedora and that, whereas obviously this one doesn't, and that, so you get a sort of better idea of his luscious curls, as it were, and that, as well as his sideburns and that, and just generally it's a decent, really good, decent sculpt, head sculpt, I think, as well as obviously having in this action figure's case in particular, obviously the attire that his predecessor wore, which was Jon Pertwee's costume. So he's still got the frilly shirt, as well as the sort of frilly sort of shirt thing, sort of running down the shirt, or the blazer and that, and then being prominent where his hands are and that, as well as having the ring that I'm assuming would have been Jon Pertwee's and that, but because this figure's using the Jon Pertwee body, they haven't decided to get rid of it and that, which is fair enough. I mean, I'm assuming obviously in the actual show Tom wouldn't have had that ring, but it's just a little detail, and it nicely enough comes with Jon Pertwee's sonic screwdriver, so you get another sonic screwdriver if you don't mind having multiple sonic screwdrivers, which is nice. You know, it's just a standard sort of silver tube with the red emitter and red band, and yellow with the sort of black swirls around it. The blazer is really nice and is decently detailed as well, with the sort of collars and the upper bit being having sort of more black, sort of glossy black to outline some stuff, because the main suit is obviously predominantly sort of a matte black, and then you've got some buttons here as well as a pocket there and a pocket there as well, and then you've just got some black and all dark grey dark grey pants and black shoes. Nothing in particular, sort of nothing particularly sort of standout-ish as well. And accessory wise, he only comes with the Sonic, which is fair enough really. I picked this one up because obviously I'm a massive fan of the Fourth Doctor, but also because, as well, from what I understand of the action figures, of the Doctor Who action figures, it's regarded as a very rare action figure in that it's not an easy one to come by. And as well, as I say, I got it for a decent price, or a decent / reasonable price to me anyway, on eBay. So if you can find it for a decent price and you're a massive fan of the Fourth Doctor, or you're just trying to collect some rarer Doctor Who sort of character options figures, then obviously it's a must-have really. Articulation-wise, it just has standard sort of articulation of like head moving side to side on a full 360. Same with the arms, and that they don't. There's no sort of ball joint or anything, so they can't go to the side or anything, but they can pivot and that, like outwards, like so, and that. As well as the hands can obviously move full 360 and that. As well as obviously being articulated at the knees, and there's no foot articulation, but they don't really need to be, I guess. There's a swivel as well, so if you wanted legs to be out at a point like so, then you could have it like that, although then it's a bit more difficult to have him stand, so why you would want it like that is beyond me, but you know, totally up to you how you position the action figure. But yeah, overall it's a really adequate, really cool variant, a really nice variant. I don't know why, but I've always been fascinated with the Doctor when he's newly regenerated, still being in his predecessor's attire and or clothing, and that I think it's cool because it just sort of visually solidifies that this is still the same being, and that, it's still the same sort of person at the end of the day, because they are still, they still retain the memories of being that person, and that, and as I say, you have that visual representation of that almost when you've got, Tom, but in his predecessor's clothes, jumper tweeds and that, so, yeah, and also, obviously, you only ever see it briefly as well, so, and I think there's something more magical about that as well, and that, because obviously it would be a bit weird if Tom was always, always had his predecessor's attire and that, but yeah, if you're a big fan of the Fourth Doctor, and as I say, like collecting, or are trying to collect more of the rarer character options Doctor Who action figures, then yeah, this is definitely a must-have. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. It's a really good figure. I think the detail is very nice. It's a very nice variant, and it's quite rare to a rare figure as well, and I get why it is, because obviously it used to be anyway exclusive to the Fourth Doctor time capsule, although now it isn't, but it's I can imagine there's only so many that the character options and or the people producing them originally made anyway, so yeah, if you're a big fan of the Fourth Doctor, it's a must-have, or you're just trying to collect more of the obscure, rarer, niche character options Doctor Who action figures, it's a must-have. 8 out of 10 action figure. Thanks for watching, comment, rate and subscribe.